Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I have a great and wonderful day, and it seems like Brandon Johnson is doing the best that he can to ruin his city because it seems that he's removing the shot stoppers, I would say. Because these are very good things whenever a gunfire is fired or what have you. It alerts the police of when a gun is fired, and therefore they can respond to the call. But of course, the woke mayor, the very protective of criminals, doesn't like that. So instead of doing that, he is going to, he's going to remove this ability to make lives worse for people and make gangs and etc. more available to terrorize the community, among many other things. Because, that's the way he works. Now, here's the actual story here of what's going on in Chicago. And unfortunately, their reasonings for doing this is just so incredibly dumb. I can't fathom on why it is even existing right now.
Rogers reports that decision may be almost as controversial as the program itself.
Even on the campaign trail, Mayor Brandon Johnson said that he would remove ShotSpotter from the city's budget. Critics say that the service is unreliable and leads to unconstitutional policing. Others, including police officers, say that it's a reliable resource, especially in underserved communities where the code of silence still maintains.
35 cities have already said this technology is unreliable.
In September, right after the DNC in Chicago, ShotSpotter will end. The technology alerts police in real time to locations where gunshots were fired.
I feel it's very disrespectful of the mayor to make a decision like this without even getting the input of the community.
Now, lady. Now, I'm all for feeling bad for certain people, but the problem is the community voted for this man. And, by the way, you voted for this man not because of his politics, or rather because of anything for his reasoning. You voted on him based on his own race. I mean, even showing this here, it shows that the Chicagoans did vote mostly just for this guy based on race. So your actual logical thinking is not great here. You voted a guy based on race, he said he was going to go do these things, and now he's doing it, and now you're upset. I really have very little sympathy for Chicago people because they destroyed their own city. They have decided to vote for a man that said he was going to do exactly what he was going to do. He was going to do exactly what you wanted the migrants to have, and now you have all kinds of illegal migrants going on, and now you're bitching about it. And then we have where you guys have are now losing all your stores and your theaters and fast food restaurants because you guys just can't stop just destroying your own city and acting like a bunch of monkeys. I'm sorry if some people find that racist, but at some point, black people need to be held accountable for their own bloody actions, and it's part of the reason why I don't like to associate with the black people in general. Because they act like I don't think what's rational or correct. And then when bad things happen to them, they go and complain like they didn't cause the problem. It's really annoying on how you people do this type of stuff. But as they said, it's going with the mayor. The guy goes and says, oh, it's unconstitutional. I don't know what's so unconstitutional about showing people having, gunfire that's happening in your city. That's kind of like very nice to have. There's nothing unconstitutional about that. But I guess they have more reasoning for this.
In place since 2018, ShotSpotter cost Chicagoans about $8 million annually. City council members speaking in Inglewood today outraged by the mayor's decision not to renew the contract, saying with the department down more than 2,000 officers, many residents are not calling police.
We're here to tell the mayor that he's wrong, that he needs to change his decision and listen to the community.
Black and brown communities hear gunshots all the time. There are some communities are immune to it. So therefore, sometimes people just don't call the police. ShotSpotter saves lives. Why? Because the police will still respond to that call.
On the other side, several cities have rejected ShotSpotter because of inaccuracies and red flags.
What the Inspector General's report found is that the police enter every single situation with a ShotSpotter report, guns blazing, because they think that there's shots being fired in that moment. And in the case of Adam Toledo, what occurred is it led to that little boy, that 13-year-old boy, being shot and killed.
Now, this will be a long one, but please, bear with me. Now, you see this idiot here. Yes, Carlos Ramirez Rosa. Yeah, he's a ability idiot. And we're gonna go through whatever his stupidity is going through, because he's a moron. But, again, remember this one video here specifically talking about when this was supposed to end?
September, right after the DNC in Chicago, ShotSpotter will end. The technology alerts police in real time to locations where gunshots were fired.
Well, as you can see in that particular video or that clip that I just showed you to kind of refresh your brain, well, that is not really the case here. What we're going through here is that it will be after the contract expires Friday, law enforcement and other community safety stakeholders will assess tools and programs that effectively increase both safety and trust and issue recommendations to that effect, according to the mayor's office. Now, what is really going on here is that Johnson said in a statement the city will stop using the ShotSpotter technology by September 2022, 1 month after the Democratic National Convention takes place in Chicago and after the summer months that are often the most violent period of the year. Okay, so after all the violent periods of the year is done and all that great stuff and what have you, then they're going to end it. And then when it happens next year, it's going to be a tragedy waiting to happen. So, pretty much what you're saying is, the contract expires pretty much of last week, pretty much on Friday. So, last Friday, it already expired, so that's where the contract expires. And, they're already accessing new tools and stuff like that, but by September 22 is when, you know, everything will be fully convinced. So that's another thing. Now, we're going to go on to this idiot here, Carlos Ramirez Rosa. Now, remember when he was talking about the Toledo kid? Well, there's a bit more to this than meets the eye, alright? So, what's going on here is that if you take a look at this actual, at this clip here, you'll see to where the gangbanger that was with the 20-year-old and then with the 13-year-old that was the kid that was shot, that was killed, this humble and kind child, they shot at a moving vehicle for explicitly no bloody reason whatsoever because they're psychopaths. Then they started running like animals and because they heard the sirens, and the 20-year-old gave the 13-year-old the handgun. And due to this, you'll see that in this picture right here, you'll see him throwing the handgun away. And then, if I show you this other picture here, you're also seeing that the handgun that he thrown away was right there. So the police had every right and authority to shoot this kid because they were not sure. They just told him to put his hands up in the air and stuff like that, and it would have been fine. He probably most likely wouldn't have been shot. But of course, the kid disobeys the orders and gets shot. And this is just the reality that we're living in. He is lying. He is not being truthful of the whole situation at hand. And that's what led to the kid being shot. It was not because, you know, it's because guns blazing, which is stupid. Obviously, they're going to go with guns blazing. Because, you know, they're obviously because, you know, the shots were fired, right? So they're going to assume that. And that innocent 13-year-old, innocent, by the way, was not so innocent. He was associating himself with a gang. So, yeah, try to be a bit better on that.
In a statement, the mayor's office saying in part, quote, law enforcement and community safety stakeholders will assess tools and programs that effectively increase both safety and trust and issue recommendations to that effect. Former top cop Gary McCarthy also not a fan of the decision.
I think it's a bad decision as far as catching bad guys and preventing somebody else from getting shot.
Now, we must add, in the case of Adam Toledo, a gun was found in his possession. Also, the police board ordered an officer involved to to be disciplined. And now the last day for ShotSpotter is September 22nd. Until then, aldermen in Inglewood today telling us that they will work to win majority city council support to overturn the mayor's plans. That is the latest here outside Chicago Police Headquarters. I'm Nate Rogers, Fox 32 Chicago.
So again, even the news reporter exposes that idiot on that he actually found a gun on him. So I don't know what they're talking about here, but normally when somebody has a gun, you're telling him to put it down and you're doing weird stuff, you're the one that's going to end up getting shot here. And like I said, the kid was not unarmed, so I don't know what you want to do. A handgun in the midst of pretty much anybody besides possibly, and I mean maybe, a 5-year-old or younger life is not in very much of a danger. Of course, that's subjective. And that's just basing off the intelligence of the child, but the child can still injure you regardless. So either way, you should probably take it with very self-care. Either way, this is something that these idiots do, and Mayor Johnson is really just trying to ruin the public and his own city and be free and have the game bangers go run wild. Because, you know, if it wasn't for that shot stopper, that gangbanger probably would have gone and executed people in that car or what have you, because the cops wouldn't have been notified. But of course, you know, it's not doing any good, guys. It's not saving lives. It's just causing more problems for everybody else. Alright, guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share, and as always, take care.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted. Cause it's algorithmic disease, the social media.